And welcome back. I'm Mike with the Turntable Teachers, and class is back in session. Here for another guest speaker episode at AOA Studios. If you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, be sure to reach out to us at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. And I'm joined today by two very special guests. If you are a fan of the Boston music scene or the podcast scene, you have to know who these guys are, especially because I was on your podcast not even, 8 months ago.
Exactly.
So I had to return the favor. These guys run one of my favorite platforms in the entire city. This is none other than Owen and Jack from Boston's Big Four. Gentlemen.
What's going on?
What's up? There it is. There's Owen's
Thank you for the
signature
intro,
noise.
yeah.
Good for you, man. Now you got with the noise. Oh, that's right. I forgot about
He's
that.
been doing that forever since we started the podcast.
Yes.
Do the party horn,
I forgot about the horn. Yeah, I think you did it at the end. You made a sound at the end of our episode, I feel like.
It's either or there's a few one. There's
Owen's
a
our
few.
human soundboard.
Yeah, I got some
great.
noises. Yeah, I got some noises in the back.
Can you do a clap track, or is that too much?
I have to. So I had an idea for maybe we should. This is the sauce. But I had an album. I wanted to make a sound pack of my beatbox noises.
You still should.
Bro,
so
I think you should. I think that would do well.
I think it would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about earlier, off air with the AI shit. It's like this is human made.
You don't get that anymore.
Yeah,
You
we
don't
need
get
that
that.
stuff.
Yeah. The human made clips, boys, right, Jack?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah.
get the AI stuff.
Yeah,
we
no,
need that
I'm not
stuff.
into the AI stuff.
Before we get started, though, before I ask you anything, Owen, I need to allow you to ask me a question first, because when I went on your podcast,
I called
I
you out.
started off by asking a question and you got really
we're
upset.
interviewing you.
So I am going to return the favor here
we
as
go.
a peace offering, as an olive branch, that we can just officially bury that hatchet.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if there's still a little bit of
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure, but I'll let you ask the first question. Just out of
oh god, well
respect for you.
Now he's on the spot. Here we go.
Now I'm on the spot. Well, I guess why didn't we get asked to look at this painting? Since the last time we'd been here, we've been here since no one can see right now, but if you guys have seen the Say That podcast, when we were on, the mural was not there. Episodes since have been, this is where the mural is. You'll see the mural. Sorry, misspeaking. But we've been to the studio since the mural's been here and haven't seen it. So it's kind of on us.
That's kind of on us.
But
We
I'm
probably
also,
should have
but I'm
stepped in this
asking,
room and checked it out.
But why weren't we pointed to it? It just makes it. I guess that's
Feels
the
like
question.
a peak question.
you know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is a peak question.
because it's. I mean, again, it is in
a
our
beautiful
studio.
mural.
So it's a
No, it is
gorgeous
awesome,
mural.
yeah.
Shout out to Prop who did that.
Shout out to Prop.
It's incredible.
Shout out to KG.
It's incredible.
That's a nice mural right there.
That is a great KG, and you're rocking the KG tonight. Which
I
is
am rocking the
fantastic.
KG. It's playoff season.
My real question that I was kind of
Please.
avoiding
There you
though
go.
is, I hope you were. Have you been gentle with the Nardwar questions? And do you got any deep ones?
Yeah, we were
That's a
just
great
talking about
question.
We'll
this.
get to them when we get to them. But I just, that's what I'm nervous about.
Who did you talk to? No.
It's an awesome question. So, to be honest with you, I struggled a little bit with you guys.
Okay.
I reached out to some people.
Underground?
I didn't get a lot of response, but I did get
Interesting.
response from one.
Okay.
And I got some good questions, but it's not I don't think they're going to be greatest
Okay.
hits of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
All
they're
right.
going to be, you'll be surprised that I know them, but it's not going to be anything crazy. How does that
right.
sound?
All right.
Put it this way.
Well, we don't have
it's
to
gonna
burst the bubble right away.
Yeah, I won't do that. It's going to be obvious who I actually was able to get in touch with for who.
Okay. So you weren't able to find our family members on Instagram? Or?
I did. I just did not get responses
Okay,
back in
gotcha.
time. That was the
Alright,
thing. But one
interesting.
person got back to me on one of your sides and gave me
Okay.
some good intel.
Okay.
The other one, I didn't get any intel. I had to just kind of go off of what I could find online.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So
I'm terrified.
so
And I want to apologize first of all that I started. Now this whole podcast started off very the animosity was there because I came at you when you were on our podcast. So that was on. I'm sorry, dude.
you know what? But here's the thing. I think I needed to understand my place in that moment of hey,
Yeah.
you know what? You're not
You nipped it in the bud as soon as he asked.
you're
the
not in
question.
control
Yeah.
right now, and you need to know your place. And I said, okay.
And you're doing it here, and I appreciate
and I
that,
was
dude.
yeah.
no,
Big
and
dog and the guest is what it's all about.
If that's your role, but listen,
Yeah.
I respected it, and to be honest with you, as I listened to the episode back, I was glad because you know what? I think you put me in my place, and I was able to definitely unwind a bit and reflect, and I got a lot deeper than I normally do in podcasts, so I appreciate that.
Oh, perfect.
And I think it ended up working out. So thank you for holding me accountable.
Good. Yeah.
And I thought as a peace offering that I would do that for you.
Yeah. Well, I should have came locked and loaded, but that was on me. It is what it is.
It's okay. Totally. There's no animosity. We're totally joking, by the way.
All chill.
I will say one thing about the mural real quick that I think is funny. I don't know if I've said this on air, but it's a pretty funny thing, and you guys will laugh. So my mom was here probably like 6 months ago. I think the mural had just got done. And she hadn't been here for a few years, or maybe like a year and a half. So I was kind of giving her the tour of like the retour of like some of the improvements we'd made and stuff like that. And we come in here, and she looks at the mural, and she looks at my side, and she goes. She calls me Michael because I'm just saying she named me, so she gets to do that. And no one else gets to call me Michael.
Okay.
And she goes, "Oh, it looks so much nicer than your side." Like totally just shit on me. It was like
That's such a mom comment.
And I'm like,
my
"Mom,
mom
what
would
the
say
fuck?"
something
I'm
like that.
You're supposed to be like supportive of me, like
Yeah.
that.
I like your side, by the
Thank
way.
you.
These are all
But
great
this
albums.
is me. But the point is like that's not me.
Right.
To respect to Pete, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But it's not my style.
Yeah.
This
It's
is
not
me.
like this isn't decorated. This is.
It's not. I know. It's not. Like it's not like it's me.
These are all great
that's crazy,
albums,
yeah.
carefully selected albums. I can tell these
Yeah.
are all probably albums that mean a lot to you.
For sure.
Right?
For
So-
sure. For sure.
Yeah,
your
I
mom's
love
a
it.
hater.
Some of
dude.
them are gifts from guests. We got like obviously M. Dot. He gifted
Yep.
that to me, and Term
I
just.
mean,
came
a
on
few of my
recently.
all-time favorites are up here. So.
I would say the same.
Yeah.
For sure. But anyway, so I had to just get that out. So I love you, Mom, but like
That's
clearly
Moms
like
are
Pete said
haters,
better.
Moms,
So whatever.
Yeah, moms can be your biggest haters sometime, but they mean well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not wrong. This is pretty great mural.
It's pretty great. It's
Everyone's
pretty
getting
great.
annoyed because they can't see the mural. They're probably just going to Pete's
go watch
blog.
us say that
Go watch
podcast for
Yeah,
like
go
5
watch Say
minutes.
That.
We
Yeah.
should have to say that podcast. But anyway, Boston's Big Four. You guys are here. Very much overdue. I'm glad we're doing this.
Absolutely,
I
man.
think it's
Thank
been
you for
enough
having
time.
us.
Of course, I think there's been enough time between you guys having me on now to gotta have you on.
Yeah.
And of course, as we do on this podcast, we start with the first segment of the show, which is the objective, where we get to know a little bit about you and your background. And so I feel like I know a good amount about where Boston's Big Four started and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I've produced an episode literally on Say That, where you guys
Yep.
kind of told the story a bit. But for our listeners and maybe anybody that doesn't know the story, that's kind of just being either introduced to you guys for the first time or doesn't know the backstory, I'm super curious of how Boston's Big Four sort of came to be. I know it was originally a blog that you had started and then kind of grew into some other things and bringing Owen on with the podcast and all that stuff. So kind of just curious, for our listeners, where it all started for you guys and the journey to get you to where you are now.
Yeah, it's been an evolution, definitely. Started, like you said, as a sports blog. I was just writing sports articles, had no Instagram for it, no social media, just the website. Did that for like a couple years. Then was like, if you want to build a brand, you have to be on social media. So got that part started. And then shout out to Dave Eastman, who we have on the podcast every other episode now. But it was his idea to start a podcast back in 2018.
He's
And,
always tapped in with like what the next thing is.
Yeah. So he was like, man, you got to have a podcast. Like that's the next step. So, we were recording for a while. It was just me and him. We were recording on a phone, like not great quality, obviously, no video.
Which caught my attention.
Yeah.
And I was like, excuse
Owen,
me.
the engineer, and him was like, hold on, guys.
Insane.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. I will make this better.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when he hopped on board, probably the next year, 2019, I think.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think honestly,
Yeah.
my final straw was when we tried to have a podcast. You guys had asked me to come on. I think it was the first one I was invited on.
yeah.
You probably can't hear a thing because it was during an open mic night at Hajar's.
Yeah.
So there was
We
like
were really sloppy
music
in the
playing,
beginning. Yeah.
and I'm like, they can't hear us. There's no way. I'm like, I don't know if that one got posted, but
It's out there.
that's the first episode I was technically on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, you saw a place where you could fit in and help out. And I was like, I remember you asked me if you could help produce the podcast. And I was like, do you want to be on the podcast? I was like, that would be fun.
"Geez, I
You were
guess,
like, yeah,
yeah."
sure. So now here we are. And, Boston's Big Four started with me just connecting, trying to connect with Boston sports fans. Obviously, it was during the blog era. There were a lot of Boston sports blogs at that time. And I just wanted to be, one of those ones. So, yeah, that was it. I have a huge passion for Boston sports. I love the way sports bring people together the same way music does. I introduced the music part, a couple years later, but just bringing people together, I think, is the number one thing.
Yeah.
That's the most rewarding part about it. And, yeah, sports and music are two ways that you can definitely do that. So
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
You kind of like somewhat answered my second question, which was like, I'm fascinated by that marriage of sports and music, right? Like, I think they're a little bit more synonymous than people. Like, I don't say that people don't think about it being synonymous with each other, but I think they're more synonymous than we tend to give it credit for.
Yeah.
That, like, there is a level of commonality between the two in so
Absolutely.
many different ways, right?
Absolutely.
So like to the point where, you know, like as a former athlete, like your warm-up playlist matters. Like that's a thing that
Right.
like every athlete
yeah.
can understand.
Right.
You know, it's like I still remember the song that we came out to. It was Many Men Wish Death by 50 Cent.
Oh,
And
it's
then
a
it went,
great
and then it
one.
went right into Dreams and Nightmares.
Yeah.
It's 2012 era. So like,
Yeah.
you know, we're all
Yeah, yeah.
giving our age away here. But,
Yeah.
We're 19. Everybody.
yeah. The 92, 93 boys right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel as though that there is a bit more commonality than people would normally think, or you might think. So was that just like a natural, like out of passion, or was there like a purposeful thing of like, let's figure out a way to make these two things kind of come together a little bit?
Yeah, it was out of passion. I mean, sports and music are two of my favorite things, which is the case for a lot of people. So, two things that I've been passionate about since I was a kid. So, you know, and I just thought that if I can focus on something I'm passionate about, it'll be fun and rewarding, and, you know, hopefully we can get some results from it. And, you know, it's been great. You know, we've gotten a decent following on Instagram, and yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. I think that, you know, I was at Celtics watch party last night, and just the energy there, and the energy at the shows we go to, and the people we meet and everything, that's made it all worth it.
Community is the best part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit, a lot about that when I came on your show. Like we talked a lot about just how important that is, right?
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
like, and it still rang true when we started.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like I almost think I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't think I gave that part of it much thought when I started my podcast. Like I didn't think about what community meant until it really, I kind of got down the rabbit hole of the Massachusetts music scene, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, like this is so essential to everything at the core of all of what this is.
Yep.
And so I feel like, especially, it rings more true now than it ever has, especially as Massachusetts as a whole has grown as a music scene. And,
Yeah.
and
So much.
And
yeah.
we've been around to watch it grow the last few years, and it's just
Yeah.
been awesome to be even a small part of that.
Like 100%. I completely agree. I think we both kind of came around similar times, and
Yep.
like I think it was kind of at a pivotal point. It was starting to, I think, trend in that way. Where I think when
Yes.
we got into it,
Which is why why I added music to Boston's Big Four. I think that was in 2016, and it was like all of a sudden you had Cousin Stiz, Michael Christmas, Joyner Lucas,
Right.
Token, Dutch Rebel, Bia, like all these people popping off at the same time, and me being such a music fan and just a fan of New England in general and New England culture, and you know, I was like, this. It was kind of obvious. I was like, I need to tap into this. And the first music article I wrote went kind of crazy, and I was like, all right, we're doing this. Yeah.
and I love what you guys do, because I don't know if I've ever articulated this in the way I'm about to, but I love that because we are obviously coincided with this area as being a sports town. We have been forever.
Yep.
And so I don't think the music thing has always been a backseat. Arts has never really been at the forefront. And for you guys to be able to, for the sports to be a bit of like where it started and have it be kind of a staple part of it, but then to really bring the music forward with it and elevate it with the sports part of it
Right.
is, I think, huge, because you know, you're taking something that people already here enjoy, and then you're doing bringing it along for the ride, so to speak, and then it naturally is catching that wave with the sports content.
Absolutely.
In you know what I mean? So
that was kind of the goal initially for me when I started doing the music stuff. I was like, I want people, the passion that we have about our sports teams, I want us to have that about our artists as well.
which is super important. And I definitely want to, not that I,
It's
know
on
her.
its way.
It
Dude,
is.
they were playing Casso at Fenway the other day.
Yeah. they
I
were.
heard it. Yes, I saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
happening.
dope. And I want to give a shout out to Mayor Wu and her team and her administration, because she's been very much at the forefront of really funding the arts, and I've appreciated that from her, regardless of how you feel about her politics or whatever.
Yeah.
I just, from that perspective, I think has been huge because like even that concert series that used to happen at City Plaza till about, I think it was 2012 or 2013. I think Mac Miller's year was one of the last years they did it, and they didn't do it for almost 10, 11 years, and then with Goldfest,
the Mac Miller one went a little off the rails. So.
Probably why, but with like Cousin Stiz's Commonwealth Fest and Goldfest with Still Gold, like and all the other things that they've done as well to fund artists and to fund the arts, I just feel like it's been a little bit of a resurgence, and I think it's necessary, right? I actually put out a TikTok literally today, or like a clip from the podcast. I threw it on TikTok, and it was with one of our recent episodes with Jalen. And, you know, you had mentioned like, oh, it's cool that you're actually tapped in with the Western Mass guys.
Yeah.
One of the conversations we had was like, what I love talking with the Western Mass guys about is, you know, do you guys feel a little slighted? Because I don't feel like you guys get talked about enough. And I saying it to you guys off air that I think it's important to shed light on them because they have a scene, they have a movement out there. Maybe doesn't get the eyes and the attention that maybe Boston or even some of its suburbs or parts around it do. And it was funny how on the comments, I got a few comments of people being like, "What? Who's even talking about the Boston music scene? Like, no one is." Like, kind of just shitting on the fact that I'm even trying to ask Jalen about that and like what Boston music scene. And I'm like,
those people have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, yeah, of course, we know that, but
if you define it by like Western Mass or Boston or even the surrounding areas, people just a little bit away from that, it's all Boston. And that's like how obscure it is to people outside of New England. Like they don't define, like, I don't know, New York is defined by boroughs, you know, like, they're from Queens or they're from wherever. Yeah. Like, so, but no one's talking about the Boston or Massachusetts or New England area like that, unless you're talking about like the New Hampshire artist versus like a city artist.
Right.
So I guess it's not even defined so specifically on the broader scale. So, but people who are in the know can define it that way. So we're trying to make that mainstream. Yeah. That's like part of what I guess what our jobs have been.
Yeah. No, and that would be my response to them would be, well, this is the point. If you don't think it should be a point of conversation, well, you're wrong, unfortunately, because there is a scene here, and that is part of the problem. That you know, it's platforms like mine and yours and Pete's, and you know, I don't know, any other one you want to name off the top of my head, I can't think of some off the top of my head, but like, you know, that are trying to get that conversation continue the conversation, push it forward. You know, High Street, right? There's plenty of podcasts out here and platforms.
Shout out to all the podcasts.
Noble with Museum TV, like you know, there's just so many. So right, so it's almost endless at this point.
Yeah. If we forgot you, then must not matter. Sorry.
No, I don't mean it that way. But in all seriousness, though, I think you know that piece of it's important. So I'm glad with you guys. It's like whether it was purposeful or on accident, I think it's a great strategy nonetheless to be able to try to marry those together because naturally, again, known for our education here, known for our sports, but you know there is music here. And
there is music,
there's music in any small city or you know what I mean. There's been plenty of examples of that.
Well, it would be hard to say like. Berkeley is here, so like how can you?
That's that I don't understand, right?
People like to ignore that.
The highest quality musicians, the Pops are here, like the best musicians.
For real,
like,
best musicians. Spend their college years doing shows around here, and then oftentimes they move to other places. But like this is where they have their roots. A lot of times.
So many.
So I don't know. Whoever's
you're
listening,
a fool if you think otherwise.
Yeah, if you think there's no Boston music scene. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, I guess. If
you're wrong, if
you like, because that's why I don't find that to be an opinion. You're entitled to your opinion.
Factually incorrect.
You're factually incorrect. There is a scene here. If your opinion is the scene here stinks, that's one thing. But the fact that you can't say there's nothing here because there is, and I feel like it's thriving. But anyway.
And like we had a food blogger on recently, Tommy DeVito, and he was just saying like you can't compare us to New York. Like New York is so much bigger than us. Obviously, they're gonna have more of everything.
Sure, exactly.
You know, but
makes total sense.
But we are a major city still. We have a lot of people, and there's plenty going on. There's
quite a bit.
That actually brings up another point that slight transition here. Of what I like about you guys is that you don't feel like you guys box yourselves in, whether if it's for better or for worse. You seem open to opportunity. It's not like, all right, like again for myself, it's like, all right, mostly on this podcast, I mostly just have people that are in the music industry. Like I don't really branch outside of that because it's just kind of the brand. But I feel like with you guys, you're able to do that. You're able to kind of get outside of even the sports and music, like with the food bloggers and
that's a new thing.
on. So yeah, I'm kind of curious of like, has that been a conscious thing for you guys to want to branch out and keep things fresh and you know, kind of shed more light on different types of the Boston as a whole or Massachusetts as a whole, or is that just like
I say Boston culture?
Yeah. All right, sure. Boston.
I mean, I say New England culture because we cover all 6 states. Like
sure,
so,
fair enough.
Like I was saying, things that bring people together, sports, music. What brings people together more than food? You know?
Yeah.
So that kind of seemed like an obvious choice, and there's a lot of food bloggers that are really taking off on Instagram right now. So we figured that'd be a good scene to tap into.
Right.
And everyone likes to talk about food and give their opinions on the best restaurants.
Oh yeah,
always sparks a debate. You know. So
yeah.
And I love to say that on one of our early episodes, we did test some donuts from Honey Pot Hill Orchards.
We did,
and it was
and they were really
delicious.
good.
Yeah, and I want to do more of that stuff. I do love. Yeah, everyone loves food. So
on the episode with Mike, we did some cookies. Remember?
Exactly.
I remember the cookies.
Made,
of course. How could I forget?
Yeah, I got to make more things.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, my latest kick, I'm trying to make homemade Poptarts, and I didn't realize that you don't make them with puff pastry. I assumed it would be puff pastry. It's pie crust, and I'm like, because if you buy a Pop-Tart, there's not enough filling, dude.
Well, you're a big Pop-Tart guy, right?
Not even really. I just recently was like, so I saw like some video. I probably sent it to you. It was on Instagram. Pop-Tarts ice cream sandwiches, like they sell them.
I've seen all the food.
I have not seen that.
And I was like,
crazy.
oh,
if you watch the food reviewers, they're all reviewing them right now.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's a new thing.
It's a newer thing.
Okay, I haven't found them anywhere. I've just seen it.
I've been seeing it on social media.
Last weekend I bought Pop-Tarts and ice cream and made like a big one, and it was amazing. But the Pop-Tarts...
you made a homemade one? That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same shit, right? I mean,
would you just take 2 Pop-Tarts and like stick ice cream?
Yeah, I have like one of those like wide ice cream scoops, and I got the Breyers one, so I could like do a long like flat. It was so I didn't have to like mold it. It was just like
that's awesome.
A thin flat piece to put between them, and yeah, it was good. I would highly recommend it. But the like store bought Pop-Tarts is just kind of gross. So
I haven't had store bought Pop-Tarts in a long time.
I haven't either.
It's very fake, and there's not enough filling and stuff. So fake, I'm like, I can probably make a delicious one at home. So
yeah,
I gotta. That'll be the next thing. Keep an eye out.
Yeah, we need to review that.
Keep an eye out. Yeah,
you should follow flexible eating lifestyle. I'm probably fucking that up. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But he basically has all these recipes. I've actually made a bunch of them and they're great. He like does all these swaps. Trying to get in the wedding bod right now. So he does all these sort of like swaps to make them higher protein and lower calorie and all that sort of stuff. And he does a ton of desserts and he makes like these homemade low calorie, high protein like Pop-Tarts essentially, using like low calorie bread actually.
I just found a protein Pop-Tart and it was kind of gross, but I'm hoping that one's good.
Oh yeah, no, it's not like
I'll try it.
Yeah, like the way he'll do it is like with the frosting, he'll use like a protein powder with like putting in like a low fat cream cheese and shit like that. You know what I mean? I don't know the whole recipe off the top of my head, but they look. I've never actually made the Pop-Tart version, but it looks and then just with the filling, you'd put just like strawberry jam or whatever else you like.
Huge fan of jam. I just realized I bought jelly by accident like a week ago, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, that is a." People say peanut butter and jelly, but jam is what you want.
Peanut butter and strawberry preserves. That's my jam.
Preserves. See,
that's my jam. There you go.
Get it?
I don't like the chunky in there, but I like jam.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, this is off topic a little bit. I feel like we're getting way off topic.
It's all on topic.
No, this is fine. This is just I kind of assumed this podcast was gonna go off the rails a bit, and I'm here for it. So it's okay.
We're gonna make homemade Pop-Tarts.
I'm gonna bring it back. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I got you.
It's okay.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Don't worry. You can talk whatever you want.
I'll bring it back. No, I think that was it. We're just talking about jam, and PBJs.
I mean, we do cover food now, so it all falls under the
100%. But anyway, I want to definitely transition to the next segment of the show, which is the main lesson, where we talk about what you got going on now. I thought it'd be the perfect time to just talk about. I think we're at that impetus in the year where the sports conversation is huge, right? You obviously were just coming off Super Bowl a couple of months ago, and we're in the heat as we're recording this, in the heat of the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. The Sox just started back up. I feel like this is the.
We better watch our words because this could age poorly.
This could age poorly, although this is going to come out pretty soon, so we'll see. Season
7.
A lot of this, a lot of this conversation, might not age well. So just for context, we are recording this the night before Game 6 of the NBA playoffs.
Just won Game 5 last night. Big win.
And I love it. But this won't age poorly. This is one I don't want to. I'll get the bad out of the way. We got to talk about the Jayson Tatum injury. I feel like that's an important conversation to have. So my thought process with this whole thing is like, obviously it's really, really tragic, and just to have this happen to a guy in his prime.
Right.
I feel like this is an injury you see a lot more in your back into your prime,
30s,
later 30s.
Yeah.
So I hope that this is something that he'll be able to come back from. I think he will. I don't see why he couldn't, especially with modern medicine and stuff like that. But, just kind of curious of what you guys think this potentially means for the Celtics in the short and long term with this injury. I feel like we're probably not going to see Tatum next year.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
It's terrible.
But what are your regardless of what happens this year, what are your sort of outlook for the Celtics in the next maybe year to 3 years or so, or 5 years in that sense? Now that
I am all for keeping the Jays together. I mean, there's a lot of talk since the Tatum injury about how this could be the last time they played together, right?
Fuck that.
Yeah, I'm not hearing any of that, honestly.
Especially how he played in Game 5, no.
Yeah, so I think
ridiculous.
Get him back healthy, whether it's next year or the year after, and these guys will still be in their 20s at that point, So there's no reason to not stick with that core. Obviously, things will be shaken up this offseason. I don't expect Porzingis to be back. I don't expect Holiday to be back. Those guys are getting older and deal with a lot of injuries, and that they're not able to contribute as consistently as we had hoped they would when we got them. Obviously, they both helped us win a championship last year, so it was worth it. But plugging in little pieces here and there, moving some parts around, but keep the core, keep Tatum and Brown.
I agree with that.
Yep.
What do you think? Is there a deal for? I mean, are Porzingis and Holiday salary dumps at this point, or do you think there's a deal out there that makes sense that they could potentially still be getting something of value in return for these guys?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. You can get something for them, but you're not going to get a lot. Like, it's at this point. Holiday is, I think, 34 now, and past his prime. Still a very smart player. Makes the right play. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So that's extremely valuable, actually, to have someone who can handle the ball in the late stretch of the game and not turn it over. I think that's probably his biggest value at this point. But he's not a game changer in the sense that he's going to score a lot of points. He's not really the elite point guard that he was at one point. So, yeah, I just think that, his best years are behind him. Same with Porzingis. And, yeah, I'd be surprised if we got something. I'd be surprised if we got, like, a really key piece to a championship team like they were for us last year.
Right.
I don't think that we're going to get that in return for them.
No, because they're obviously, like you said, they're on the down
right.
end of this. I don't feel like it makes a lot of logical sense that any team would give up
right.
an asset of super high value for either of these guys.
Right.
If you were to predict, like, where do you think those guys end up? Because I actually agree with you. Like, before we get to that point, actually, that question, I will say I agree with a lot of what you said. Like, I think the Jaylen Brown trade talk is absolutely insane.
Get out of here
to
with
me.
that. Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get another top 20 guy in the league, which is what he is. Even if you think he's in that 20 to 15 range, fine. But, like, those guys don't just, like, show up in your arena. Like,
the key to winning a championship in the NBA is having at least two superstars. You have that already. Why would you mess that up?
Sure, yeah. And let's see what he can actually do on his own next year. Like, I feel like there still could be room for Brown to even grow if without Tatum in a way. Like, it might. I don't want to say it's going to be a good thing, but like it realistically,
it actually
for Brown
might be.
Could
it might be
in the
him
short term,
having a
maybe
full
not so much,
season
but
without Jayson Tatum could be just enough for him to kind of spread his wings and show what he's capable of. Because
agreed.
I mean, I've always thought that he would be the best player on most teams in the NBA. So
I feel confident in that.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's a top 20 player, you would think that there's probably at least 10 to 15 teams. He's probably the best player. You plug him in. I feel like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think next year I think your best bet. I think probably your starting five looks something along the lines of like a Pritchard, White, Brown.
See, I like Pritchard off the bench though.
I know.
I do feel like he's like the perfect like microwave scorer. Heats up real quick and just
I don't think they're gonna have a choice though at that point. Like just given that he is probably going to be their best player left over from that.
I agree.
group to
I
a
agree. It's kind of
degree.
like when they had when we got Isaiah Thomas a few years ago, and we had him coming off the bench, and then he was just so good, and we were like, we
Right.
have to put him in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Because there's no really better option at point guard.
Yeah.
So
if you had to predict it, where do you think Porzingis and Holiday both end up?
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta look at what teams need and who's looking for that kind of player. I'm not. It's hard to predict those kind of things. I'm never really big. I'd love to talk sports, but I'm never really big on like one thing. Our guy Dave, he's big on
Ooh,
predicting.
yeah, if you saw that.
He's big on predicting. He loves the draft. Like I'm never into draft talk. I'm like,
Okay.
Nobody knows what's going to happen or how good these guys are going to be. Like
Sure.
fans booed when we drafted Jaylen Brown. They had
I
no
know.
idea who he was. So like I don't speculate too much on that kind of stuff. And
Okay, fair enough.
yeah, I think that there are definitely some teams out there that could use Porzingis and Holiday. I hope they go to a good team and can help contribute to winning.
Right,
because
right.
that's what they care about the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree too to say because really especially for the draft conversation. I think the draft grades are always so strange.
I hate that stuff.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are we giving? We don't know how this is going to
Right,
wind up.
right.
So,
like Will Campbell's
crazy,
arms are
yeah.
too short. Like okay,
That's so funny.
Yeah, not to switch to the Patriots, but fuck it. How do we think they're going to be this year? Like,
Patriots.
Yeah.
I think we'll make the playoffs. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll win like 9 or 10 games. That's
Okay.
my prediction.
I feel like the spirit is there right now.
It's there.
I feel like that's their ceiling. I could see them 10-7 with a soft schedule. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely could see it. I think that with the
And
additions they made,
maybe win a wild card playoff game.
Wait, you're saying, but you're not saying Super Bowl.
hell
No. We're not winning the Super Bowl. No chance.
No,
Okay,
I
it's
don't-
just
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
to be like, we can't win. But I see where we're coming from.
I mean, Diggs is a huge
Yeah.
acquisition if he can stay healthy. Like he is an unbelievably good receiver.
I think their absolute ceiling, would be what the Commanders did last year. I think if everything kind of rolls the right way,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could get lucky.
A lot has to go right.
100%. They
Yeah.
could get into like an AFC title game. I highly doubt it.
That
though,
would be
because-
crazy.
But here's the thing, like. I don't want to cross sports because I feel like it's weird, but like I feel as though the Western Conference and the NBA is similar to the AFC in like if we were in the NFC, I'd feel a little differently about it. But like I just don't see a path that they could realistically jump like Cincinnati, Baltimore, and like Buffalo, and even to a degree like a Houston to get. And I'm even leaving Kansas City out of that because we kind of probably assume that Kansas City is going to be in the mix too. So it's like I don't see a path for them to get into that conversation of like, all right, they're going to be with Baltimore or Kansas City in a final. I
don't see that either.
I just don't see it.
They were too bad last year. It's tough to make that kind of a jump
Yeah.
just from picking up a couple guys.
But to make the playoffs, I think is very reasonable
Yeah.
because there's always in the NFL, you always see teams that there's always what they say like there's easily like 3 to 4 teams that like don't make the playoffs the year prior, and then they end up making it like the year after or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and so many of the games we lost last year were close. Could have gone either way. We easily could have won like 7 games last year.
Yeah.
So no reason we shouldn't improve a little bit. I mean, yeah, I'm excited about Diggs, and Will Campbell seems like a competitor.
Yeah.
I like his
Worried
attitude.
about his arms. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, he was like crying on draft night saying that he's going to die to protect Drake May and everything. I'm like, I love this guy.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I appreciated that.
And he's into the Bass Pro Shops.
He did.
So that's pretty cool.
That was funny. You saw that?
Yeah, he's a wholesome guy.
Yeah.
Wholesome people.
He's a Louisiana guy. Isn't
He's a
he? So
Louisiana
it makes
guy, so
sense.
he was
he's
like
on the
standing
bayou.
on he was standing on the tower at Gillette Stadium. He's like, "Oh man, they got a Bass Pro Shops." Right there."
yeah.
I didn't even see that. That's
It was
funny.
awesome.
That's awesome. He does feel like a Vrabel guy to me.
Absolutely. Vrabel loves him.
Yeah, the draft was interesting. Like I thought, that I was hoping there was a chance that like Sanders or another quarterback or someone else was going to get taken in that top 3, so they'd land maybe Hunter or Carter.
Sanders didn't even go in the first round. It was crazy.
5th round.
I know.
Crazy. But I mean, whatever. We'll see what happens. I mean, Campbell fills a need, and you know it is what it is. I mean, that Week 18 win feels shitty now. Like, kind of looking back, it feels like you could have had the number 1 pick, traded back, still got Campbell and all the assets, but whatever.
Shouldn't have started Joe Milton, because that guy was. I mean, I don't blame him for balling in that last game. He's trying to make a name for himself and make some money. So yeah,
I think there's a
you happen to put in a quarterback who was really hungry to get his name on the map. So that probably wasn't a good idea.
I mean, I think there's a path that he's a starter.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
This year, like,
Dude can play.
Because Dak's never always that healthy. I feel like there's a potential that he ends up starting for Dallas.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for him.
yeah. So I also want to bring up. And I know you're a big Sox guy. Or you work at Fenway at the very least.
Yeah.
So like you're around the team. You're around the game frequently.
Yeah. I guess I don't know how to feel about Devers not wanting to play first base.
Yeah, so I hear about this, and I got to probably stop listening to that 98.5 because I just feel like
Me too.
They totally
It's
like
a
I
horrible
think
addiction.
They warp, right? I always say like I'm gonna stop listening to these guys
I can't
because
help
I
it.
just
I can't.
But
Then something bad happens, and I'm like, oh, I want to hear them rip this guy
I
apart
know.
today. So,
That's why I was getting pissed when we were talking about the other night, or the other day. Like, oh yeah, maybe like we should trade Jaylen Brown. I'm like, I want to almost call him and be like, shut the fuck up.
Well,
like,
they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They're getting under people's skin. They get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Maz a couple years ago said that Peyton Pritchard was no better than your average guy at the YMCA or something like that.
Nonsense.
And then he won 6th Man of the Year in
That
the
man
NBA.
can ball.
I actually stopped listening to Rush Hour Radio a few years back because I was like, I think this is like damaging my mental health. They're always
I think
so
so.
negative on the radio, and I was like, I can't do it.
The negativity will get to you, and it rubs off on you a little bit. I found myself being like down on our teams and had like friends or family kind of put me in check and be like, why are you hating so much? I'm like, I think I listened to too much sports radio.
No, just kidding.
I
didn't know that.
had a conversation with his name's Smoke. He's from the Hangers, and we had that conversation. He ripped 98.5 to shreds.
I saw that clip.
Oh, you did?
I saw that clip.
And it got a lot of people being like agreeing with it, but then so many people like it actually had an interesting comment section. So if you check it on TikTok, it's really funny. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a trip if you're interested. But I think that like it is very toxic. The only there is one sports podcast / show that I actually really like. I think it's super entertaining. Is First Things First with Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, and Kevin Wilde. It's on FS1.
Okay.
It's a bit more of a national show, but it's funny because like Nick Wright is like a Chiefs stan, and then you got Kevin Wildes, who's like the New England guy, and then Chris Broussard, who's from like all these different places, and like their dynamic is really funny. Like it's very entertaining.
Yeah,
it's less like toxic of a conversation. So like that show I like. But yeah, in terms of like Boston sports radio, it's a tough listen.
I will say most of the sports media I consume at this point is from former athletes, like former athlete podcasts.
Those are because at least there's
Steven
a perspective
Jackson and
there.
Matt
That's
Barnes,
interesting
all the
inside
smoke.
baseball, so to speak.
Yeah,
No pun intended.
KG and Pierce have one. I listen to that
Pierce is
every
great.
week.
You know who's is really good too is Cam Newton's.
Cam Newton's is
He's
good. There's
very
so many.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like.
Always
him.
a showman, even on the field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Crazy.
I thought he was great. He had a funny. I just was watching he had a funny bit about Belichick and Jordan Hudson today.
Oh, I gotta watch
It's
that.
wicked funny.
I gotta watch
He
that.
was like saying he's even in the NFL locker room we'd be like, Bill, what do you mean? Like, what are you
Right.
doing? He's saying like, how are you going to go into a 16-year-old living room with this situation and have them take you seriously?
Yeah.
When
He's hurting his legacy with that one, definitely.
yeah. He's like this Jordan is getting talked more about than the Jordan from Chapel Hill we should be talking about.
That's funny.
So anyway, I'm sorry. I went back to this Red Sox. I'm fascinated by the Devers thing because he always seemed like a pretty, humble guy. I don't know. From the outside looking in.
I don't really understand where that would be coming from. I mean, like people historically have been very loyal to the team. It's been a while since I feel like we've had like a main cast that everyone loves. Which is like what we grew up with. Like, like there were just household names. Like
That was when I watched the Sox the most.
Yeah, everybody did.
I don't watch it anymore.
You'd go to Fenway and you'd see all the jerseys. You'd see Poppy, you see Pedro, you see Nomar. Now it's like, whose jersey do you buy?
No one cares. Yeah, and so I literally overheard. I was walking around one night doing my thing, selling my products, and in the stands, I hear a fan say, I thought they were supposed to be good this year. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's like super hit or miss. Like, I swear, I don't know if they're still using the rubber balls or whatever, but or if it's those new bats, but the
torpedo bats.
Yeah, I don't know. Games will be either like low scoring and close or just like blowouts. And you're like, how is this possible? Yeah. I don't know. But
there's a lot of drama with the team right now, I feel like.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm less tapped in than you think. I kind of like get in, do my work, and leave a lot of the time.
I can see that.
So I usually just like find out like whether we won or lost.
Yeah.
But I have been hearing about Devers lately. I don't know how old this will be by the time.
Recent enough that it'll still be relevant unless something crazy happens in the next 2 weeks. The Celtics stuff, I mean, we're probably going to know. We'll know pretty well before this airs how they did.
Yep.
I'll put it out here though because this is before Game 6. I will say, and I have text messages to prove this. I said this has been my prediction from the start.
Okay.
Once Tatum went down with the injury, I said they'd win Game 5, and they lose 6 in New York. So I'm going to stick to that.
I'm sticking with Celtics in 7. So we'll see how that goes.
I don't even mean that. I hope that's the case, obviously, because why not?
No, if it is the case, I'll look smart. So.
Yeah, of course.
And if not, we won't post a clip.
Yeah. Cut that.
Exactly. Well, either way, either one of us is going to look dumb. I'm not saying I don't have faith. I just think if I was like in my bones, do I feel like they're going to win in New York? I will say if it goes we
7, are good on the road. We had the best road record this year.
True.
Better on the road than we were at home.
That is true. That is true. I'm leaving out the possibility for it. Don't get me wrong. I just think if I was a betting man, which I'm definitely not, that I would bet that they'll lose.
We're talking about Boston. And how can we forget? We were just talking about the Red Sox. This has happened. People have come back.
From 3-0, not just 3-1.
Exactly. I mean, it's like we've seen worse.
I feel better. Tatum was not hurt, but I hear you.
I understand it has not the same circumstances.
There is some truth to the thing. Like I still think we're a better roster than the Knicks without Tatum. I really do. I think we're a deeper roster. I think we never should have lost those first 2 games.
I mean, that was just embarrassing.
It was. It
was embarrassing.
Embarrassing fashion to
Losing
be up 20
leads
points
is terrible,
in both games.
Even Game 3. I mean, I don't want to hear. Or sorry, 4. Excuse me. I don't want to hear the narrative that we lost because Tatum got hurt. I think that game was over.
Oh, it was over. We were down 9 at that point.
Yeah. Like I truly felt like, and obviously not over in the sense that like anything can happen, and when you're down 9, 3.5 minutes to go.
But they had stolen all the momentum at that point.
Exactly. The momentum was done. It was totally in their favor. They kind of did similar shit where they were still up, 14, I think was their
chucking up threes.
Lead. Yeah. Kind of resort back to that.
Yep.
And it almost felt like last night they moved the ball better without Tatum. That's like the one thing. Like I am the biggest Tatum apologist. My brother.
I get what you're saying.
Can't stand Tatum. And I don't know why.
He gets way too much hate, first of all.
Way too much hate.
When
we always go back and forth, I just think like he is so anti-Tatum. It's so annoying. And it drives me fucking nuts. I don't understand why. Why? It's because he's good looking and he's a good player. And like all
we
that
said
shit.
this
Like,
on our podcast before. I'm like, he's a great father. He's handsome. I'm like, what do you not like about
Jack loves
He's got a great
Tatum.
demeanor. I'm a huge Tatum apologist, but I will say that watching him play, sometimes it's a frustrating watch. And almost like it is almost counterintuitive. Like when he's got it going, he gets shot happy.
I will say he tries
to be Kobe.
Which, by the way, the game he got hurt in, he was cooking. He was having an amazing game. One of the best scoring games I've ever seen him have.
For sure. But there were a couple possessions.
Like towards the end, he had accepted this is my game. I'm taking over, and the offense got stagnant.
Yes.
So
a couple of those possessions late in the third, he's dribbling it up slow over half court. He's holding it until there's 12 seconds left.
Yeah.
Horford's giving him a screen. And he's trying to do something on Towns.
Yeah.
To the point where like pretty much every time he's dancing with Towns and then step back 3.
Right.
It's kind of what I felt like he was doing. And so, again, this will either age well or poorly. I don't know. The game plan obviously might have to be a little bit different for New York without Tatum. And maybe that is an advantage for the Celtics. Who knows? I mean, it clearly was last night. We'll see if that can continue in 6 and 7. But
stuff like that can happen for like 1 or 2 games. Sometimes you lose your star player and everyone just kind of rallies around and rips off a couple wins. But to maintain that, it's going to be tough. But like I said, I think our roster's deeper than theirs still, even without Tatum.
Right. I know the Eastern Conference. Well, the conference finals won't be done by the time that this airs. So What would you say your prediction is for who wins the finals at this moment in time where we're at? Still, obviously, towards the end of.
I can't. Ah, man.
I defer to Jack.
You defer to Jack on that?
NBA matters. Yeah. It's on you, dude.
It's tough.
You can pass, by the way.
I don't.
You can pass.
I don't like to root against my team, so I'm going with the Celtics.
You're going with the
I
Celtics?
think, yeah, we're going to catch lightning in a bottle.
Okay.
Yep.
I like it. I'm in. I hope you're right.
I hope so too.
This will be
How
great.
can you not have
I
hope?
can't
Yeah.
pick.
No,
yeah,
I have hope. I have
I
hope.
can't not pick us while we're still alive.
Of
you know,
course.
I can't.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
fair.
to.
Of course.
That's fair.
So
I'm cool with that.
He's a true Boston fan.
Yep.
Well, I still have a couple more questions in the main lesson. Actually, we're going to switch a little gears with music. But first, of course, you already kind of alluded to it, Owen. We got to do a pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
I
Okay.
think it's time for that. So if anyone who doesn't know what pop quiz is and is a fan of Boston's Big Four and just being introduced to us for the first time, pop quiz is a segment where we ask our guests rapid fire questions. Some of them have to do with what they do, in particular, sports and music and podcasting and all that stuff. But sometimes they've absolutely nothing to do with that at all. It's just information I found out about both of you. Nothing bad, nothing incriminating. You will be
We'll
able
see.
to.
Allegedly.
But you can't fail because it's all about you. So as long as you know
yeah.
yourself, you're good.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to go back and forth. Jack, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
I love the series you've been doing, like the forgotten sports moments. What's one core forgotten Boston sports moment you think doesn't get talked about enough?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me see. I think that, and I've brought this up before, there was one season that the Celtics didn't make the playoffs since 2007 when we got KG and Ray Allen, and that was Brad Stevens' first year. And I think that the way that year went, I think, I'll just say this. I have a lot of respect for anybody who watched the Celtics that year because it was not a great time. Like, there were no expectations that we were going to win anything. So I have an appreciation for fans who remember Jordan Crawford winning Eastern Conference Player of the Week in December of 2013.
Deep cut.
That is such a deep cut. I love that. I love that.
So, because that was a fun time for me as a Celtics fan because we were playing, for that stretch, we were playing way beyond our potential. Brad Stevens, it was his first year coaching. He was proving that he could turn like an average player into a star player, at least for a short period of time. And then Jordan Crawford was winning us so many games that we actually had to trade him because we were trying to tank. So that was a fun time. And I just, as a diehard Celtics fan, I that's how I separate the casuals from the diehards. If you remember that, then you're a diehard.
Love that.
So, yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Cool. I'm into
Dude,
it.
you just like snapped into like Einstein. You just pulled out the facts and statistics. That was nuts.
And I like
yeah.
what you said about, I saw you post this with the Celtic City documentary. You thought the fact that Isaiah IT got basically no love in that, which I agree.
I should mention that too. I mean,
come on.
But a lot of Celtics fans, people were pissed about that. Carmelo Anthony commented on that post, by the way.
Did he actually?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't know
was
that.
crazy.
Yeah. A
did he
lot
say?
of people, he just said how quickly they forget.
He's right.
And I don't think real Celtics fans forgot. Like, I think we all remember exactly the impact that Isaiah Thomas had on the city during that time and the hope that he gave everyone. And that's why it pissed me off so much that he wasn't in the documentary. And it's a great documentary, by the way.
It was very good.
Shout out to everyone who put it together. Obviously, they want to focus more on the championships, but I do feel like in the 90s, they spent a lot of time on non-championship things. Like Rick Pitino got way too much time.
Way too much.
And not
How did Rick Pitino get all that airtime
and
IT
not
barely-
Isaiah
barely
Thomas,
even
right?
got,
That bothered me a little bit.
because that was a run that was very unprecedented. Like I didn't feel like anybody saw that coming.
Here's what people forget about the Isaiah Thomas era. We were supposed to be, like the season I just mentioned where we didn't make the playoffs, we were supposed to not make the playoffs the next year too. We were 16-30 when we got Isaiah Thomas. We went like 20-something and 12, I think, the rest of the year, and made it as the 7th seed. Got swept by the Cavs, but we haven't missed the playoffs since then. He brought us back to the playoffs, made us a playoff team, and we have not gone back to the lottery since then. So I'm like, and without him, we would have been horrible that year. We were horrible.
And the peak of his powers, that was what they were they weren't the 1 seed that year, were they? Or they were the 2?
In 2017, at the peak of his powers, we were the 1 seed. Yes.
That's right. I figured
Yeah.
that. I forgot about that.
He led us to and we'll never see a 5'9" guy score that easily ever again.
Yeah.
Like, it was unbelievable, the quickness that he was just blowing by people every night. It was so fun to watch. Even before 2017, people talk about that, the MVP candidate season. He was doing that 2015 and 16.
Yeah.
We didn't win in the playoffs until 17 because we got Horford, and he helped out.
Right.
But it was just Isaiah in 15 and 16.
Yep.
And to watch a 5'9" guy be the best player on your team by a mile was
It
insane.
was so cool. And then
Yeah.
the 50
I mean,
point-
as a fellow short king myself, it was amazing.
and then I feel like I remember there was a 50-point game somewhere in that playoff stretch, or like he had a huge 40-point game in one of
Yep.
the, I can't remember. I think it was against maybe the series. Was it the Hawks? I can't quite remember which team it was.
Which year? The MVP year? Or
Yeah. There was one game I can't remember in the playoffs, but
Yeah, he scored 53 against
That's what it was.
the Wizards on his sister's birthday, like a week
That's
after
what
she
it
had passed
was.
away in an
Yes.
accident. So, I mean, the things
That's why I
that...
heard.
Yeah, that, I remember, that was a crazy
That was
season,
crazy.
yeah.
That was crazy. I mean,
it was fun. And
the stuff he was going through at that time and what he was accomplishing, and at his size, like I said, unbelievable. So yeah, to give him like a quick 2-second shout out in the documentary and then just move on like nothing happened was a little crazy to me.
And it feels like it was the start of the run because it gave
It
the run
was.
from then until now.
It
Because,
bridged the gap between like the bad Celtics and the good Celtics. We were supposed to be bad for a while,
right.
but he sped up the rebuilding process.
Yeah, it got. I think Brad Stevens obviously feel like it got him a lot more confidence. That's when
Absolutely.
Brown was on that team. He learned probably how to win pretty early, like
Yep.
with that team. 'Cause that team was very successful. He was a rookie that year, so like
Yep.
I think it just led into that. It
Yep.
felt like so. I agree with you. All right, that was a cool cool little deep dive there.
Hell yeah.
All right, Owen. In your opinion, what do you think is your better baking product? And you're a big baker. You think your cookies, your gingerbread, or your creme brulee?
Oh, okay. If I'm trying to impress people, it would probably be the creme brulee, yeah.
Feels pretty impressive.
But like on a regular night, I'm definitely gonna whip out the cookies.
The cookies were good.
Yeah,
They were
I'm
good.
a very fan.
They were good.
Crumble, take notes.
What was your rating? I forget.
I
feel like I
was
gave
like
it
a
something.
7 something.
I feel like I was about
we
to say
said there was some
something in
room
the
for
sevens.
improvement.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, they weren't perfect cookies. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
But at least they weren't those.
They're my best, you know.
At least they weren't those cake crumble cookies, right?
yeah, we hate
Yeah,
those.
no, I hate that.
Yeah.
I can't say enough bad things about
All
them.
my homies hate crumble cookies.
Yeah, exactly. We should make that a T-shirt. That's in
my homies hate
the catchphrase collection.
And I've heard it was funny because I heard you were a big Pop-Tart and Doritos guy, but you're seeming like you pulled back on that pretty quickly when I asked you.
Yeah, I'm curious. Okay, so if this came from a person that you talked to, that's recent news. That's like brand new.
Pop-Tarts are recent.
Pop-Tarts are like this past week.
So it's because you've been
So-
so into the Pop-Tarts thing recently.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, what about the Doritos? Is that not a thing?
Doritos is real. I bought
That
them
is real.
today, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have a huge hot take on this one, but I really want to hear your thought process about this.
I think I know what you're going to say. Can I predict?
Please.
Have you heard that they can make the same tasting chip exactly the same without the powder?
It's not even close.
Oh,
No, but
That's
I'm
a
now
great fun fact.
But I'm now intrigued by this. Go.
They think that the powder is like part of the experience, so like they keep it on. But it could
Interesting.
taste
I thought
the same.
the powder had the flavor in it.
It
Okay.
does, but that's why they could make it with. They don't need that. It could just be in the chip.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but they think
Okay.
the powder's like it's part of it. You get it on your
I
fingers.
thought we were about to have a moment, and it just totally.
Oh, I feel now. Now I feel crazy. What's the thing?
That's a fun fact. It's talking about deep dives, right?
That is a deep
No,
dive.
I
pretty
was
sure it's
I was going to
Doritos.
ask you
It could
something a
be
lot more
cheaper.
surface level. I was going to ask you what you think is the best Doritos flavor because I feel like this is such a hot debate
Yeah,
in the Doritos community.
I pretty much get nacho cheese. That's like my standard.
come on.
See, people say that, and I get Cool Ranch, but
I'm a Cool Ranch guy.
you just like it. It's different. You can only take that for so long.
Spicy
You know?
sweet chili. That's my go-to.
Okay,
Interesting.
those are good
Alright.
actually.
Purple bag.
That's the purple bag. Yeah.
Purple bag.
You know what?
Yep.
I haven't tried too many other ones.
Yo, next time you're at the store,
Okay.
get the spicy sweet chili. And then text me on whatever RCS SMS because unfortunately this almost
Yeah,
didn't happen
we're having
tonight
some
because we're having some communication problems with the text messaging.
If you have an iPhone, update it to iOS 18 and enable RCS and disable MMS SMS messaging. Stop messing up with us Android people. Get up to date. They fixed it. Just do it. And I'm not saying he didn't do it because for some reason I looked at his phone and it was there. So this could be a bug. I don't know what's going on. It's
I don't know
weird.
either.
We have to Reddit this after.
Because we were texting totally fine a few weeks ago, and then I was like, "Yo, we still on for tomorrow night?" Crickets. I got nothing back.
Yeah.
Text back again. Crickets. And I'm like, I think I pissed these guys off. What did I do?
I have the receipts. I have the receipts because we did respond.
No, you did.
We did respond.
So it's weird because we can text each other directly SMS. If anyone who cares about this, we can text each other directly SMS. We can text each other directly RCS. In a group chat, we see each other's messages, but he doesn't see ours. So it's
a whole
like
mess.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't understand it.
So I sent the screenshots to show that we weren't being assholes, and I hope you believe me. I'm not.
Of course I believe you.
He believes us now. He believes us now. For a second, he was like, "I don't know about these guys." Yeah.
So I don't know if someone knows like what that is, or maybe if someone at Apple wants to help us out. If you're watching, I'm sure.
I think we should call Lucas. Lucas would be the guy I would call about the Apple stuff.
Okay.
Kind of crazy.
Shout out to
Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas.
That's my.
So
what was it? Narragansett. We were both at your show. I met him for the first time. We were both drinking Narragansett, and I got his number. And then he texted me like after the show. He was like, "Narragansett boys." And I was like, "Hell yeah!"
That sounds like a Lucas text. It really does. Knowing Lucas the way I do, that's a Lucas text. So Lucas, reach out. Let me know. Like he weirdly enough, he loves like troubleshooting this type of shit. So I feel like this might be like a Zoom call.
I know it's like whoever doesn't care probably did tune out, but I was like, this is kind of interesting.
It could be useful information.
Yeah. Like if maybe there's a guy or a girl who went on a date with an Android,
and they think they're
getting ghosted.
And
the date went great. What happened?
Are we fixing relationships right now?
We might.
Okay, so that's actually maybe the next like branch of Boston's Big Four that we're gonna do is like
dating advice.
Yeah, dating advice. Like we'll do some sort of like we fix relationships by making maybe gaslighting people into thinking like maybe their text didn't go through, and we make up different. We try to fix things. You know, that's all we do. Cut that part out.
I'm down to do dating advice, though. I think that'd be fun.
I think that would be pretty interesting.
The gaslighting part was fake. We lied. That was not true.
All right, so I know you both have pets. You have a dog.
I do.
And you have a bunny.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. So what are your favorite activities to do with your pets?
Basketball.
He likes basketball?
Yeah, my dog likes basketball.
Oh, he's totally he's your dog.
He plays good defense, honestly. Like,
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. He'll it's like tough to get around him. It's actually good at like it's good practice for basketball to try and score on him. So
he's trying to be Air Bud.
Yeah, he is.
But like
shout out to Carter.
Yeah, I was about to say I think Carter, right? And then your bunny, who I met once.
Pepe, yes.
Pepe.
Thank you for meeting Pepe. There's a person who hasn't met Pepe who could have. Kind of rude, but we won't name names today.
Oh, okay. All right. A little bit of smoke.
I just want to make sure that tidbit's out there because who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Yeah, Pepe's good. And there's not like an activity you do with a rabbit, you know?
Sure.
You can like train them to like go over obstacles, but it's all kind of like, no pun intended, like you were like carrot on a stick kind of stuff. Like they're just going for like the food in your hand or whatever. But they do like form bonds with you. So like when I run up to him, he runs. Well, like if I stand by the door, he runs up to me like he wants to be there. So if we're like watching TV, he comes over and like kind of sits in the area. But they're just like they're vibe pets. Mm-hmm. But I love having him around. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I lived with a bunny for a little while. My friend of mine, it was four of us. We all lived together, and he had a bunny that he wanted at, like a fair. It was so random.
That's awesome.
And
I've seen them at the Marshfield Fair. It's a little sad where they're coming from, but if you get one,
you get him home.
Yeah.
It was great. He used to run around the house. It was funny, but then unfortunately he passed while we were there, and it was really sad. It was sad.
That is sad.
That's crazy.
Just like happened out of the blue. It was so unfortunate.
Unfortunately, rabbits are prone to like was he fixed? Because he
think he was.
Oh, really? Okay, because they are prone to like weird cancers and stuff, and it's usually like reproductive related.
That actually sounds. This was 2017, I think. So this was 8 years ago. So that does sound familiar, actually. So maybe it was something to do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's people are only now like learning how to take care of rabbits because when I was a kid, we had a bunny and he was like in a hutch outside, and now I learned that that's like animal abuse. He literally was.
People used to do that all the time.
He literally
My neighbor had the same thing. Yeah.
Like one morning, cage is open, scratches on it, fur in the yard. Like one morning, and we were just like, oh, I guess we weren't supposed to leave him out. I didn't know. My parents were like, we did that growing up, and I'm like, okay, he's gone now though. But I've seen people do it, and I'm like, I can't believe anyone would still do it in like this day and age. So PSA, But yeah, I guess sorry that was a little bit of a tangent, but you don't
it's fine.
You don't really play with rabbits.
It's fine.
You snuggle with
He
them.
I mean, Pepe plays.
He does. So yeah, I have some videos. Yeah, we can. Maybe I'll put him out there.
He's a fun boy.
Yeah, he bucks and hops. Yeah, he does fun stuff. He has a little secret tunnel that he runs in and out of.
That's what I was thinking of. He loves the tunnel.
Yeah, the secret tunnel. He hops on top of it sometimes. It's kind of weird that he hops on top of it because it's like metal and they don't have the best grip. They're like little fuzzy paws. So he slides a little, but he's kind of like a cat, so he just runs along it.
Very nice.
Yeah, if anyone wants to meet Pepe, you got to come on the podcast and be interested.
It's actually now a requirement. If you come on the podcast, you have to meet Pepe.
Yeah, you do have to meet Pepe.
We're not allowing anyone to say no anymore.
I did that before it was even a requirement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey,
why would you not want to meet Pepe?
Gotta be Pepe. It's cute. He's a cute little guy.
Yeah, and I just want to make this one quick analogy. Rabbits are a little bit like the hippogriffs in Harry Potter, or just like horses in general. You have to like approach them, like in a way. You can't just like run up to them. They have to like acknowledge your presence.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you kind of have
Cats
to like
are very
get
similar.
low.
I feel like in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people like rub bunnies the wrong way, like, and then they'll like run away or get upset, you know, and bite you and stuff. Pepe doesn't bite. He's tempered. Some rabbits do it though. So I just want to say, anyone who's had a bad experience with a rabbit, just think about that.
Yeah, cool.
Think about that scene.
Put yourself in their shoes for a second.
Yeah.
Or their paws.
Their paws. Yeah.
That's okay. I just said that to be funny. It was kind of a stupid joke. Jack, I know that you're a hiker, right? You enjoy hiking?
I do.
From time to time?
Yeah.
What's one hike you've done that you recommend, and what's one on like your bucket list that you like really want to do?
Ooh, my favorite hike is Mount Lafayette in New Hampshire.
Big fan.
You've done it?
I've done 15 of the 48
Okay.
4,000s.
Okay.
I believe Lafayette's one of them.
Yeah,
Correct?
the views are just
Crazy.
unbelievable.
Crazy.
That's my favorite part of any hike is the view. So my favorite hikes are the ones that have the best views at the top because that makes it all worth it.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah, my goal is to do all 48.
my goal is also to do all 48. My girlfriend has already accomplished that. So
Good for her.
yeah, so we're working on it.
You're working on it.
Yeah.
Getting you to do them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So what's one on your bucket list that you would love to do that you haven't done yet?
Ooh.
Doesn't have to be New England based.
yeah, I've done a lot of hiking in New England. So I would say, I mean, not a specific mountain, but I'd love to go. I'd love to do some hiking in like. I've done a little bit in Colorado. My sister lives out there, so I'd like to explore more out there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to do Yellowstone. That's been like on my bucket list.
Yellowstone would be great,
man.
too.
Or Yosemite, any of those. Like those are like huge on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a big hiker.
Hell yeah.
I have some friends that aren't.
Yeah.
And my fiance too. The first time I brought her on one, I had her do the Webster Loop.
Yep.
What's that other mountain that's right there? Oh my God, I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head. Webster. Fuck, I can't remember.
Is it Jackson?
That's it.
Yeah.
Webster Jackson
Yep.
Loop. And by the way, gorgeous hike. Especially actually
Beautiful.
Funny enough, the way up is amazing.
Yeah.
Like some of the tree line, or some of the trees as you're walking up, it almost feels magical in a way when the light hits a certain part of it. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I'm the guy that like, you know, I love that. Like I love the pain actually, weirdly enough, of going up. But not everybody fucks with that.
Yeah.
And like especially her, I'd be like, oh yeah, we're almost. I'm the guy that's like, we're almost there, even though we're really not. But I'm trying to just keep
everyone's spirits up. Yeah.
This was years ago. It was probably when we first started dating.
Yeah.
And then similarly with friends of mine too, I did it again, and like. You know, I was like, oh, it's only like, I was Indian Head we did.
Okay.
And it was only, it's like not a long hike. I think it's only like 2.5, 3 miles up, but it is kind of steep.
Yep.
And so, you know, it was maybe a little bit more to bite off than I initially had thought for people that aren't as experienced.
Yep.
And yeah, and safe to say, people were not happy with me.
They didn't enjoy it?
They didn't
No.
enjoy it. No, they were not thrilled with me after.
It's always tough, like getting someone who hasn't hiked and, you know, you want to bring them on like a spectacular hike, but you don't want to push them
Start with Blue
too
Hills.
hard. See, that's just too.
That's
you know,
just,
come
that's
on.
Start with Blue Hills.
That's a
Grow up.
Sunday stroll. Let's
yeah,
not-
come on, that's a
let's
walk
not-
in the park.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Start with Blue Hills. If you don't like it,
I feel like
then,
Mount Major, I feel like would be the one that you
If
could
you
Yeah.
don't like
Monadnock,
Blue Hills, then
maybe.
you just don't like
Yeah.
hiking.
Monadnock's sneaky though.
Yeah,
Monadnock on the back end's a little sneaky.
I did Monadnock when I was a baby in my dad's backpack
There you
thing.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like very much passed down.
Oh
in that
yeah,
sense.
my family they're big into
Makes
hiking.
sense with your
so.
sister being out in Colorado. I'm sure she
Yeah.
gets a lot of that too.
We love the mountains.
you
Big
go.
mountain family.
Mountain family, love
Yep.
it, love it. I did the Penny Loop.
Okay.
and stayed overnight.
Nice.
Like we slept on the top of Garfield.
Nice.
Just one of my favorite core memories of my life.
Yeah.
Like so fun.
That's awesome.
The best.
That's awesome. We should do a hiking trip sometime.
I'm so
Let's
down.
do it.
Like, let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
I would like to come.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You're included.
You're included.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah.
Let's
You
do a
are
podcast hiking
included.
trip. We'll
It's
get,
podcast hiking
we'll get
trip.
Pete to do it too.
Yeah. I literally
Pete.
just grabbed all my camping stuff from my parents' house, so I have like my tent bag. Like,
all right, let's do
I
it.
love it. I love it. Yeah, we stayed in the lean-tos. Like it was mad fun. I had a great time.
I always thought it would be fun to do like an artist hiking trip and just like
Oh
bring.
do it, man.
my
Yeah.
goodness! And we can bring some batteries and we can make some tracks out there.
That'd be sick.
That
some
would
tracks
be
out in the
crazy.
woods.
That'd be sick.
That would be
Batteries
crazy.
and solar panels.
Yeah.
Cut this and we'll talk about it later.
Cool. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
cut this. Everyone can hear.
Oh,
it.
yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess
giving you stage directions. It's on there. Sorry.
I run the show.
Yeah, you're right.
Stay where you were at. I don't have it in me to do that. Yell at you right now. Owen, true or false? You're quite the sleepwalker and sleep talker.
That's real. Yeah. Now I know who you're talking to. Yeah.
And I hear you also. Yeah, this is probably a dead giveaway at this point. But I heard you even dig through things like when you're sleeping, like clothes.
Many times I've woken up,
closets.
like pulling things out of a closet.
What's is that like the weirdest position you've like woken up in, or is there like one that?
No. So one time, my college roommate, we were it was they're like raised beds, but we had like the desk underneath it. It was like the dorm thing. So I'm in mine, and I see he's on his side, and in my like fugue state, I'm like, oh, there's a $100 bill like pressed up between him and the wall, and I'm like, you don't want that to fall between the wall. So I was like, I like run over to his bed, and I'm like, dude, there's a $100 bill right there, and he starts looking, and then we literally
This is unreal.
I've never heard this.
Yeah, well, it's actually there had been an incident before this where I woke up and I was like, he told me that he like felt like a presence, and he looks over and I'm like sitting straight up, and I just go, he's like, what's up? And I just go, there's a cat, there's a cat. There's a cat. There's a cat. And then he's like believing me for a second, and then he just goes like, go the fuck to bed. So then I'm just like, oh. And then I like go to sleep. So this is now like the next week, and I'm doing this $100 bill thing, and then I'm like, I think this is like the cat thing, because we had talked about that like the next morning, and he was like, Jesus.
So there was no $100 bill.
I mean, unless he was holding out on me, but I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, I feel like there's
that
a
is
finder's fee
hilarious.
Otherwise, yeah. So, yeah, a lot. I mean, there's probably more, but yeah, I do be speaking in tongues in my sleep. Yeah, I don't know why. It just happens. It's usually when I'm like overtired, like if I've been working hard and like I just haven't been sleeping great. That's like when it comes out.
Yeah.
But,
Very interesting.
it's yeah, that's real though. It is. I don't know. Cool. I wish it wasn't like that, but it scares people.
I'm sure someone else feels the same way
Yeah.
too. Thanks, Jen.
My sisters, when I used to be at home, they'd be like, "You swear in your sleep," and I'm just like, I don't know. Like I'm always stressed. Like something's happening in my brain, so I got to get out. That's like what it is.
That's crazy.
I can be a bit of a sleep talker too, supposedly,
Yeah.
but sleepwalking and doing all that—that's almost like scary. That feels like horror movie.
That
shit.
is
I'd
scary.
I'm
I'm gentle though. I'm gentle. I wouldn't hurt anybody.
There's a cat.
Yeah.
There's a cat. There's a cat here.
Yeah.
It's $100
It's a
bill.
cat. Just a pretty little cat. Look, there's money. You got money.
I'm trying to pay you while you're sleeping.
There's money. There's cats.
And I'm only
too good.
swearing because I'm defending people's honor. That's all. That's what all my dreams are usually.
Are they?
Yeah, I think.
Well, that was Pop Quiz with Owen and Jack.
Yeah.
That was
a lot
good.
of fun.
That was
a lot of
good.
fun.
Yeah.
That went all right. I was a little nervous.
No, yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, dude,
Mainly
we're about
because,
to
like I
get
said, I
exposed.
couldn't get in touch with one person's side. Well, we probably know at this point who it was, but it's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
okay.
I know.
But it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Maybe we'll
Honestly, my people need to do better.
come on, people. Step up to the plate.
Yeah, we'll have to talk off camera about who these people were.
Yeah.
Look in your message requests, people.
Yeah.
It's funny because I asked my mom. I was like, and she wouldn't have told me anyways because you probably tell them not to tell. But I was like, and she was like, no, I haven't heard anything. So
I didn't find your mom.
you didn't find my mom?
I did not.
Okay.
I didn't.
She's on the gram.
She's in the gram. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. My mom is too. Big shout out to my mom.
It's probably hard to find, but yeah.
That's okay. That's
all good.
We figured it's all right. We got.
No, that was
plenty.
good. Those were good questions.
Those
Those were good
stuff.
questions.
Yeah, and I feel bad that I pulled back on the Pop-Tart thing so hard because They are a part of my life, you know. Like I love Poptarts.
You don't need to like come back on it. It's fine. Like
I just want people to know, like it's
No.
it's a particularly
Kellogg's
new thing
is
that
coming
I'm
at
interested
you.
in.
Kellogg's does not want to sponsor
Yeah, they actually owe
a Boston's
they owe.
Big
They
Four
owe.
episode.
At this point, they owe. We
I
gotta
don't think they
bleep
do.
it every time we say Pop-Tart.
Doritos might, but
We'll
Kellogg's
bleep every time we say a snack. The whole episode, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll get really annoying.
More
real fast.
work for Mike.
Yeah, please. This is already enough.
I don't understand that at all, and I think you should do it.
Okay.
I think.
Fine, Owen. I'll do
No,
it.
no, my bad. Don't
I'm
worry
not going
about
to do it. One of my last questions in the main lesson before I get to our final segment. I want to have a music conversation. Like, so what? I know we're right now as recording this. We're in May. This will probably be out like early June. So we're about halfway through the year. What have been some of the highlights that you've heard? Obviously, you guys run your playlist, which is super dope. You guys should. We're going to link it in the description, but you guys should totally check it out if you want to hear the sounds of New England. Basically, like this would be the playlist to do it. It is just loaded with music from this year and like years and years prior. Like it's almost a rabbit hole of type. No pun intended. It's a Pepe hole, we'll call it. So, what has come out in the last 6 months or this year? From the Massachusetts or even New England, well, I'll stretch it out that far. The New England scene that you guys have been highlight songs or highlight projects or artists you just recently, got introduced to this year that you're excited about. Like, talk to me about where you guys are at in your music endeavor and listening at this point.
You can go first.
I want to shout out Easty. His song, he put out a new song, Bounce. Bounce.
Shout out our guy.
Yeah,
You can take the phones out if you
Yeah,
need to.
I need to go through Spotify a little bit.
say,
I'm giving
I
permission
want to make
right
sure
now.
I don't forget anything.
If you want to, take a second to,
Yeah.
to look at your Spotify and see what you've been listening to, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So while you guys are doing that, so Easty's been coming on your podcast a lot more frequently now. So it seems
Yes.
like is he kind of a staple on Boston's Big Four
Yeah,
podcast?
every other episode is just the three of us.
Oh, that's
and
dope.
then, yeah.
How did that come to be, or is that something that it sounds like he's been a part of it?
He's been a part of it. I mean, the three of us have been friends since we were 14.
Cool, that makes sense. Then.
Yeah, and he's always been kind of welcome on the podcast. He just got busy and stuff, but he hit us up a few months ago and was like, I kind of want to start coming back on consistently.
Cool.
And he knows his sports, definitely, and just
And music,
random
right?
banter.
Makes sense.
We,
Him
like
and
I said,
argued about the mock
we've known
draft
each
for
other
like
for a
45
long time,
minutes.
so like the chemistry is just like effortless at this point. So we
Yeah.
just joke around and
You might
we
have
think
seen
it's
clips of us
entertaining.
singing Aerosmith. And
Yeah.
Being off key bad.
I saw TJ Patiglio last night, and he said he was like,
shout out to TJ.
Yeah, shout out to TJ. He was like, you guys sounded really good. I was like, no, we didn't.
Yeah, bro.
He's full of shit. He's too nice.
He's too nice.
He's trying to be nice.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but yeah, bro, don't. So a song, Millie's put out Blanco 7.
Yeah.
I've said this so many times. I like Bars Millie's. So Trap God, where he has Rob 49, and there's a few other features on there.
Interesting. You like trap? I kind of like melodic millies.
I'm more into melodic millies
I like
too.
melodic millies.
I have a
I
hard
mean, all
time.
millies is fine, but or good. I shouldn't say fine, but I
like a good Millie's
I don't
love
wanna say
song.
I
I've been
hate it.
gravitating more towards the melodic millies.
Yeah, I agree with
It's
that.
not that I hate it. I just prefer Bars Millie's.
That's
what
fine.
I want.
That's fine.
So I was saying Trap God.
Okay. Trap God by Millies.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, Millie's. If you're listening,
I know he just
you're still
performed in
fine,
Boston.
you know? Yeah. I was there, yeah.
Are you there? Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I went to your show.
Most sold out. Most sold tickets for a Boston artist at MGM, I believe, is what it was.
Yeah.
That's what
really?
people were
Yeah.
saying.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. So good for
It
him.
wasn't sold out? I thought it might have been.
It was close if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Looked packed.
It was full in there.
It looked. Yeah, by the pictures in the video, it all looked packed to me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I guess at that venue, it's the highest selling Boston based artist or something like that.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Is apparently
Nice.
the claim. I don't know. I don't know.
And
if
he's probably shouting at us right now, Cambridge. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
yeah, maybe that stat didn't come from his camp, but
yeah.
fine.
No,
Massachusetts.
it was a great show, and the crowd definitely looked full. So, yeah, it was awesome. And yeah, it was. I mean, that was my first time in MGM. I mean, it's next door.
MGM's a
to
great venue.
Fenway, and like I'm technically on the backup list. Like I actually got an email. I could have worked at the Millie's show. I could have been a surfer, but
That's
I was
awesome.
like, I'm just gonna go.
Sometimes better to go as a patron.
I was like, not tonight.
Have a good time.
Yeah,
Enjoy yourself.
but it's my first time. I had never actually been in there, so it's a nice venue.
Great venue.
Yeah,
I enjoy
Had
it.
you been there before?
Been there a couple times. I've seen Dermot Kennedy there.
Okay.
It was very good, and Oliver Tree.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
What's up with Oliver Tree? Is he still making music?
Yeah, I just think he is working on stuff.
Yeah.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I know he does a lot of podcasts.
Yeah,
as well.
he's confrontational on podcasts. Speaking of,
He's fantastic.
animosity.
And his show was like almost like a comedy special with the music. Like
Yeah.
it was very much like he had a whole visual like element to it that like as the visual was playing, like certain parts he would stop and he'd come out and play a song and then the visual would continue.
Yeah.
It was very cool. It was
Oh,
very
that's-
well
yeah.
thought out.
That's
Making an
awesome.
It was like an
experience,
experience.
yeah.
Exactly. I was literally about to say
That's
that.
awesome.
Literally an experience. So that was dope.
Jimi Hendrix was the first one to do that.
Oh, I believe it.
Give an experience.
The Jimi Hendrix experience.
There you go.
Is what we
I can't be true, but you know.
Oh, I thought that was a fact. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
what?
No, I love lying.
Don't spread fake news on Turntable Teachers, bro. We're all about education. We're all about the fucking facts, bro.
Yeah,
we
come
don't,
on.
We don't want to just spread misinformation.
No, there
was
been
a certain
mixed-
artist. I won't call him out because it just feels wrong. But there was a certain artist that had a statistic, accidentally said the wrong state that statistic was a part of, and got just destroyed on social media. So I had to take down the post because I felt so bad. I'm like, I got to take this down.
Yeah.
But it
Oh,
was
really? Is that not like? I thought it was like all no press is bad press.
It was
that bad?
he was getting roasted, and I felt bad. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got rid of it.
I would probably do the same thing if
Yeah.
our guest,
I
if
just-
our
I
guest
felt-
was getting roasted in the
I fell
comments.
for
I'd
him.
probably
I
take
fell
it
for
down.
him. You know, and I tried to like in the comments or I tried to pin a comment. So I think he meant this state, not this
Yeah,
state.
yeah.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
I just felt like, I mean, he probably didn't care, or maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't talk to him about it, but
Yeah.
Right.
I just was like, I feel like
Hey, that's
if it was
honorable
I
of
thought it
you.
was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I just felt
Makes
like, you know
sense.
what? I don't need and I don't want to be spreading misinformation. Because I
Right.
don't appreciate that, because so many people were coming. Oh, I didn't realize this was in my state, and I'm like, fuck. They think it's
Yeah, yeah,
you know. So
Yeah.
anyway,
yeah.
it's all right.
Well, now
we
I
all
wanna
make
know.
mistakes.
I want to know
but
what it was. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it after. But anyway, while you guys, I want to also shout out quickly Con Swank from 99 Neighbors.
Yeah,
or
man.
formerly
Shout out 99 Neighbors.
Long Days in My Room.
Yep.
Song is one of my favorite songs from New England right now.
Yeah.
I know Justin Bieber reposted it too. I don't know.
Oh,
what
did he really?
I have no
That's
idea what the
sick.
story is behind that. If Justin Bieber,
I actually, we got to get Con Swank on the podcast. I've talked.
I would
to him
love to
before.
get.
yeah.
Same. I've talked about it too, and we had
Yeah.
Mari here not too long ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who's
I was
fire.
pumped to see that because not a lot of people, like we said, around Boston show respect to Northern New England artists.
Hell yeah.
And who the hell else is going to do it? You know, who's going to show them respect if we're not? We're the hub of New England.
Exactly.
So, yeah, shout out to 99 Neighbors.
Yep. So that's one of my favorite New England songs right now.
Yeah.
Is Long Days in My Room.
Okay.
But-
I got, we were talking earlier about C4. He just released the deluxe version of Spirit of a Warrior.
Fuck yeah, love
All the
C4.
songs are phenomenal.
You guys are following up his episode.
Yeah, so perfect timing. I
should've
also
said
like
UC4,
this
I'm
dude.
sorry.
You what?
Never mind. That's just a good one.
I also like this dude, Blue Hill Bill. I don't know if you've heard about him.
I'm familiar with
yeah.
Blue Who Bill.
He went by Billy Escobar until like a few months ago. Him and Kill the Artist do a lot of work together. They're super underrated. Like if you dive into their albums, it's just all all fire.
Dope.
So
Cool. Yeah, I gotta check them out because I haven't listened to a ton of his music.
Yeah.
He was a part of that he was on that Mass Effect.
Yes, he
that's,
was.
That's how I kind of got introduced to him.
Yep.
Yeah, and I thought his performance on that Mass Effect round one.
I like his whole style.
was
Yeah.
dope, yeah.
Yeah.
More laid back and like almost gives like a Griselda-ish.
I
type
said
vibe.
the same thing. He reminds me of West Side Gun a little bit. Not on every song, but like that. Sometimes I get those
It's
kind of
West
vibes
Side
from
Gun
him.
adjacent.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
Or like not to say that he's biting him or anything like that.
No,
but
nothing like that.
no,
it just like
has
I mean,
that-
it's great music.
has that sound.
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with that.
And then pivoting away from rap a little bit, I've been listening to this girl Lily Fitz. I don't know if you're familiar with
Not
her.
familiar with her either.
She's from Topsfield, Mass. She's been
Oh, she's right down the street.
yeah.
pretty
So
much.
she's been doing numbers lately. She's
right,
kind of
Lily
like
Fitz.
country, but without like the southern twang, obviously, because she's from New England. But
Hell yeah,
she's really good. She's performing at Levitate this year. So
Oh, she's at Levitate?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be there.
oh hell yeah,
I'm literally
there you
going.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll see her.
I did a little promo run for them too, actually.
Awesome.
So that was cool. I'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
I love Levitate. I mean, I'm a huge Thundercat guy, so when I saw the lineup, so it's funny because my fiance's family, they go every year because they have a house in Marshfield, so like it's like their thing.
Yeah.
And I went a couple years back and I loved it.
Awesome.
No shade to any other festivals in Massachusetts, but it's probably my favorite.
No, the way they
festival,
do
so-
it is great.
It's
and the fact that it's in
fantastic,
like a small South Shore town, just in the
So
middle of a
cool.
field, it's awesome.
I love
Yeah.
their April. Do you see their April Fool's joke?
No.
They had put out an April
they're
Fool's
going to do it
joke.
somewhere else,
They were
right?
doing it at Gillette. They're like,
Gillette,
we're,
yeah.
We're moving Levitate to
People are
Gillette.
like, this is not what Levitate's
They're like,
about.
what? This is ridiculous. Yeah. But the fact they got Thundercat, I was like, I am so
That's
in.
amazing.
Let's go.
Yeah.
He's like one of my favorite artists. All right, Lily
awesome.
Fitz. I'm going to have to check her out.
Yeah, definitely.
Another band that I love that I got put onto through Levitate was the Elevators.
The Elevators, they're from Marshfield. Yeah.
I know, and
Yeah.
they're fantastic.
They're awesome. Yep.
They're playing twice. They got back-to-back nights.
They're like the official band of Levitate, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Stick Figure, too, is
Stick Figure,
very
too.
much, too. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Lily Fitz. I'm going to have to get hip to it. Probably by the time this comes out, I'll certainly be hip to Lily Fitz.
Absolutely.
But that's dope.
Yeah.
All right. So we got C4, Blue Hill Bill, Millie's.
I wanted to give
Lily
an
Fitz.
honorable mention to Shay.
Shay.
Shout out to Shay.
Big shout out to Shay.
Yeah, he's got stuff coming out, so keep an eye.
Shout out Justin Clancy too, as always.
Oh,
always
His new
working on
visuals have been
amazing.
crazy,
His visuals have been
bro.
awesome, and I like how he's like, screw short form content.
Yes.
I'm making music videos.
He's
Like,
gonna do
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's obviously an art to that. So
Yeah.
like, let's
I love visuals. I'm
Oh, of course.
disappointed when one of the things I love to do with people is just throw music videos on. Like we do it anytime like we're chilling.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just throw music videos on. If a song
we did it
doesn't
after
have
my
one-
episode with you guys.
Yeah.
We hung
Yeah.
out for like an
That's-
hour or
it's
two.
the
and
what we
just-
do after like every episode, basically.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I do it like always like at the end of a night to unwind. And like if you don't have a music video for a song, it's kind of like I just need something. Just something needs to be moving on the screen. Anything like
I agree.
I don't know. And whether or not I'll be okay with AI music videos,
No.
TBD.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
But is it
That's-
better than no music video?
That's like all we talk about with the Mindflex guys. We always talk visuals. That's like
Yep.
we pride ourselves on trying to push visual as much as we can. So
Yeah.
I agree because it's just a different experience. It gives off a different impression of the music and a different way to consume it. So I agree. Cool. Yeah, no, I think so far this year there's been a lot of really good.
There's been a
music
lot.
that I've
Too
heard.
many to name. Like I
many
could
to name.
go on and on.
I got
but-
intimidated, and you started like reminding me of things. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, I'm like forgetting everything.
I'm sure on my way
There's some
home a
stuff
song's
on-
gonna come on and I'm gonna be like, oh, I forgot to mention this one.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, regardless, again, give their playlist. Mine too. I don't think it's as up. I gotta update mine pretty soon, but definitely yours.
2025 in New England on Spotify is what it's called.
We'll link in the description for all you guys. Well, Jack and Owen, this has been an absolutely fantastic episode. A lot of fun. I always enjoy sitting down with you guys and having a conversation.
Yes,
I'm glad
sir.
you didn't ghost me. I'm glad you're here. The last question I have for you is that usually with music artists or even producers and stuff like that, we do what's called the dream song scenario. However, you're not artists. No, none of us
Right.
are, actually. So my question to you guys is going to be the dream guest scenario. If you could have a guest on your podcast, and you each get an answer here, so it's not just a collective one.
Yeah.
We'll say dead or alive.
Okay.
Any person
Any
that you would
person.
love to interview and have on your show, who would that person be? A lot of.
For me,
Actually, you know what I'll do? Because I
wanna
give.
pick a dead person.
Fair enough, right? All right, here's the thing. I'm going to switch it just slightly. I'm going to give you 3 because usually
Yeah.
when we do the dream song scenario, they get up to 3 guest features and they get 2 producers. So I think it's ridiculous to ask you to only give 1 answer. So I'm going to give you 3 up to 3 answers.
Okay.
Dead or alive.
one of mine is painted on the wall over there. Kevin Garnett.
KG.
Yep, definitely KG.
That would be a fun one.
I've always found him to be an interesting, inspiring person.
Cool.
So yeah, definitely him.
KG. All right, Jack's got 1.
I would love to interview David Ortiz.
Okay.
I feel like that would be great.
Poppy.
We did meet him once.
Yeah,
I saw that picture.
Yeah.
yeah, that's pinned. Love that one. Yeah, no, he's a nice guy. Yeah, would love to have him on. If you're listening, we'd love to have you on. Okay, so I'm trying to think. Like I would love to interview Elvis. We're talking about dead people. Like, yeah,
You
that
can do
would
Dead or
be
Alive.
crazy. Yeah, I mean,
What would be the one thing you'd ask Elvis? Or what? Not
Oh,
one thing. Will it be
jeez.
like what's like one? The first thing comes to mind. What would you want to ask Elvis?
I mean, the first thing I'd want to know is like I'd want to know a lot about his like technicality like in music because I feel like was he coasting on vibes or was he really good at music? Like, could he play?
Did he know
some
theory
chords?
or was he? Yeah.
I would ask him a lot of that, because I'm sure like he just had the classic celebrity pull anywhere he went.
Yeah.
Which I'd still want to ask about, but like the music part of it would be kind of like like what did it really take at the time with good marketing, and not to diminish, just saying, but Dang. Now, okay, hold on. I'm thinking more. Sorry. That's 2 for me, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Theo Vaughn.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking comedians
he's just
too.
hilarious, and he thinks unlike anyone I've ever listened to before. Just like his style of humor is really entertaining to me, and I just think that I would have a good time chopping it up with him.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 2 down each.
Okay. Now you got me thinking comedians. I'm gonna regret whoever I pick here because I'm gonna think of someone else that I'll also. There's too many. It's so hard to do this.
I know. This is. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but
because when the dead or alive piece really gets me because I'm thinking like Chris Farley.
that would be a hell of an episode.
So that's where my mind's going. But I'm like people alive. I'm like there's any of the big comedians like Adam Ray or I could list so many. I don't want to. But Chris Farley is the only one that keeps like popping up. But
Cool.
I don't want to keep going
fantastic.
to the dead.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Okay, Chris Farley.
There you go. I'm gonna go with Lil Wayne. My last one.
Yeah, I know you're a huge Wayne guy.
I'm a huge Wayne guy. Yeah, he was a big part of my high school experience, I would say, and I just I was obsessed at a time. So I just feel like it would be fun to just reminisce on that.
And love sports. You could.
He's a big sports guy too. He's been on ESPN like a lot. He knows his sports definitely. I feel like we have some similar interests. So it'd be fun.
He hosted the show I was talking about earlier. He hosted First Things First once.
Yep,
And it was great.
he did.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are all great answers. We would love to see an episode with. I mean, obviously the ones that are alive. That would be
Yeah.
huge. Those
We'll find you if you're alive.
Sound like bucket list episodes. So I have to put you on the spot there, but
Is that an ominous thing to say? If you're alive, we'll find you.
it's a little not ominous would be the word, but it's a little like
Threatening,
creepy.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Not
That's what I
ominous,
meant.
but yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Definitely probably crossing a boundary in a way, but that's okay. Just say
Telling
you were sleepwalking
pe-
and you'll be fine.
Telling potential guests that if they're alive, we'll find them. I guess I don't know. I disagree, but I'm cool with it.
Well, if you run into any problems, just say you were sleepwalking and it's fine.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Jack and Owen from Boston's Big Four. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Appreciate
It's
you,
been
Mike.
An absolute pleasure. Of course. No, I love
thanks for
collaborating
having
with
us.
you guys. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure. Last thing to do would be to plug away, let the people know where they can find you. Obviously, we'll link everything in the description for you guys, but if there's anybody you want to shout out or anything else you want to say, now would be the time.
You can find us on Instagram, Boston's Big Four _. We're on TikTok at Boston's Big Four. We're on Facebook. You can find us. I'm on X at BB4JBards. Our personal Instagram, mine's BB4JBards, is a stainless 116.
Thank you.
What else we got?
Shout out Easty at Easty
Shout
the
out
Muscle.
Easty the Muscle, of course, too.
Yep, he's the
and
guy.
listen to his music too.
And shout out to Turntable Teachers.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it. Of course. If you're a fan of Boston's Big Four, just being introduced to us for the first time, you can find us at Turntable Teachers on Instagram, TikTok. Hit up our website, turntableteachers.com, for all the latest. And of course, if you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, be sure to reach out to us at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. Once again, thank you, boys, so much for being here. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll definitely do it again soon.
Thank you, man.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah,
Of course.
Great episode.
As always, I'm Mike. That's Jack and Owen from Boston's Big Four at the Turntable Teachers, and class is officially dismissed.
Turntable.